And welcome to the Milan Talk podcast. I'm your host, Samit Paul, and we are, of course, reacting to the 1-0 win over Udinese tonight. I'm going to focus on the positives in a minute, but I just want to get the negatives out of the way because there are a lot of good things to come out of this game as well. But in terms of the negatives, I will say that I was a little bit disappointed with the performance. I thought we started really well. I thought we were putting pressure on Udinese. I thought we were, playing with energy and urgency off the ball, forcing them into mistakes, getting into our attacking mode really quickly. And I thought there was really positive signs to start the game. I think my biggest issue is obviously the wastefulness in front of goal. Castillejo, Suso, Higuain and Cotrone were quite ineffective before Higuain obviously went off injured. I just feel as though we didn't show enough quality in the final third to kind of make our control and possession count. Udinese had their moments in the second half, a couple of counter-attacks and a few chances. Donnarumma pulled off a really good save to deny lasagna, but I just feel as though we should have done better when we had those dangerous positions in the final third. And we were kind of restricted to too many long shots. I think we needed to be a bit more inventive. I think we needed to kind of get our creative players closer together and create those really clear-cut opportunities. And I think we could have completely killed this game quite easily. So fantastic to see Romagnoli step up and answers the call yet again. Really big win. Obviously, first clean sheet of the season. So there's just brilliant positives to take away from the game overall with the final result in mind. But we toiled and we could not find the breakthrough against a very average team for 95 minutes. And I think that shouldn't be forgotten. But we'll focus on the positives. I will add as well that I do feel as though, you're looking at Juve, Napoli, Inter, Lazio, maybe even Roma into this bracket. I feel all of those teams brush Udinese aside relatively comfortably and with ease. So to see us kind of struggle to do it and have to rely on a last-minute goal again, it is a little bit of a concern for me. But you've just got to take the results as they come. And with the injuries mounting, the number of players that we're now missing, obviously Higuain went off injured in the first half. You're talking about Caldara, Conte's out, Calabria's out, Biglia's out, Calhanoglu was missing. There's just so many players now out injured. I think we need to get to this international break, try and get as many players back as possible, and hopefully we'll see some more convincing performances. But as I said, yes, a little bit negative for me, but overall, 3 points in the bag, clean sheet, back in the top four, doesn't get much better than that. So absolutely chuffed with the result. In terms of Romagnoli, running out of superlatives for the man. We all know about his impeccable defensive ability, his reading of the game, his interceptions, his tackles, his leadership at the back now with the captain's armband this season. Defensively, he's proven his class. He's an absolute world-class defender. But now popping up with these crucial goals, basically winning 6 points for us in the last two games. It's just kind of reinforcing his importance to this team. And it's very early in the day to kind of start throwing around words like legend and, club hero, but he's very much on the way to doing that. And long may it continue, and the decisive moments in the final third are more than welcome as well. So fantastic to see, and let's hope that continues. On to your Twitter comments next, starting with Boriola Dami at Borrycanes. For me, we played bad, but if we play like this against Juventus, we're doomed. We couldn't score our chances, which shows that we missed Higuain. Bakayoko is gradually becoming the player I remember from Monaco. In my opinion, Gattuso should come out and speak highly of him. It will boost his confidence. Yeah, Borry, agreed. Like I said, I thought we played bad in the sense that we just didn't take our chances in the final third. If we'd have buried some of those chances with Suso and Castillejo, then you could look at it completely the opposite angle and say we controlled the game, took our chances, killed it off, job done, 3 points in the bag. But we didn't take those chances, and it kind of made the performance overall feel like it was quite disappointing for me. So, and agreed, if we play like that against Juve, and I think you've got to take your chances, you've got to be clinical against them. If we start wasting opportunities like we did tonight, then we could be in a spot above the next weekend. But let's see how that one plays out. 100% agree with you on Bakayoko, definitely improving. There are still moments where your heart's in your mouth, takes a couple of touches and you're thinking, he's inviting pressure, he's going to lose possession, but overall, compared the player that we saw against Napoli, getting Europa League action, I think there are more positives to take away from his performance now. He's kind of settling, and like you said, I didn't watch too much of him when he was at Monaco, but you can now kind of see the player that he is, the confidence kind of building back up inside him to kind of see the player that he is and what he can bring to this team. So fingers crossed he can continue to improve. At MD Coop 3, I asked one word to describe Romagnoli. His words was saviour. In terms of the injuries, trouble's brewing, and Bakayoko was solid for Miles, and he also added, bring on Ibrahimovic, please, or Pato. Agreed on that final point. I think what this game in particular exposed for me was the lack of quality depth up front in particular. Now, I know you can't kind of predict Higuain going off after half an hour of an injury. You can't predict the other injuries that we're struggling with across the squad. But if Ibrahimovic was in this squad, if he was starting, if he was coming off the bench, I personally believe that he would single-handedly have dragged us to a win, a comfortable win, way before Romagnoli stepped up. So for me, as you mentioned, in January, whether it's Ibrahimovic, whether it's Pato, having that third option up top, the kind of clinical quality player to kill games off for us, I think that's an absolute must in January. So fingers crossed that happens. And as you mentioned as well, another one, give a shout out to Bakayoko, definitely. Just going back to Borri, actually, 100% spot on with your point about Gattuso. He wasn't shy about criticising Bakayoko when he was struggling. To be fair to him, I think he did kind of give him a positive appraisal last weekend. So, hope for more of the same, and he definitely deserves a pat on the back for this performance. Samir Mohammed at Samir Mohammed 72. Romagnoli is the future of the Italian defence, but in terms of the injuries, we're in big trouble. Where are the people who said we don't need another striker? Really scared to face Juve. In terms of the performance, he said it was a bad one. Bakayoko was decent again, but is Halilovic dead? And he also asked, back to the 4-3-3 with Higuain out, or do we play 4-4-2 with Samu Castillejo at the number 10 position? Romagnoli, future of the Italian defence, absolutely agree with that. Let's just hope he continues to be a Milan player through this whole process and spends the majority, if not all of his career with us. The absolute lack of depth up front is going to be exposed and very obvious unless Higuain comes back next week, hopefully. I think the initial reports after the game, it's just a bruise, so let's hope he's not sidelined for a long time. I'm not scared of facing Juve. I think we can certainly give a good account of ourselves, but I think in terms of your apprehension of that game, if we don't take our chances, and Juve, world-class unit, they will take their chances, and they're a very, very well-drilled side, so it's going to be an extremely difficult game, but fingers crossed we can produce a performance. Bakayoko, decent again, good to see him get another shout out. And is Halilovic dead? I mean, there was a Halilovic sighting in the celebrations after the game. I saw him celebrate with Romagnoli, which was nice to see that he's still involved with the squad and he's obviously supporting his teammates. But yeah, in terms of playing time, I think we can wrap that one up and no longer wait for him to make an appearance. In terms of the formation, I would probably go back to a 4-3-3. Depending on who comes back, if Bonaventura's back, if Çalhanoğlu's back, whoever comes back, hopefully we get a few players returning from injury. I think, as I've mentioned before in the previous pod and on Twitter, I think especially against the top teams like Juventus, we will struggle with a 4-4-2. I think their midfield will overrun ours quite easily, and I think we need that three-man midfield to kind of get a foothold in the game. So for me, if Higuain is out, definitely 4-3-3. I'd almost say as well, even if he is fit, I'd probably drop Cutrone to the bench and go back to a 4-3-3 with Higuain leading the line with Cutrone as that option off the bench to kind of give us a lift if needed. So let's see what Gattuso goes with. At Spidey0816, Bradley Watson, Romagnoli equals class. Can't be too comfortable with these injuries. We need more depth. Just got to hold on. This win still puts a band-aid on how flawed we are right now. Hoping Ibra comes in. Definitely need a good January window, fingers crossed. Yeah, Bradley, spot on with your analysis there. Romagnoli class, that's pretty decent word to sum him up, to be honest. We need depth, 100%. Let's hope we get some more signings in January. Paqueta coming in. Hopefully Ibrahimovic to follow him, and a couple more on top of that will be lovely. And yeah, like I mentioned in my analysis of the game, I think we can look at the goal, we can look at the kind of picking up the 3 points, keeping a clean sheet, all well and good, and it is great. But in terms of the performance, I'm still hesitant to say that we're actually playing at a high level. But you've got to take the injuries into consideration as well. We are struggling, so we'll just have to grit our teeth and push on. And yeah, Ibrahimovic coming in has got to be the answer. Like I said, I think he could single-handedly have won this game for us. He's still got that quality to do it, and I think he would be certainly a great addition for us. So Let's hope that happens. Francis Obita at F Obita. Castillejo was a force to reckon with. Lackluster performance. Suso was ineffective. Crowned it with that unbelievable miss from a Castillejo roll across ball. Zapata, calamitous. Romagnoli at full total command. Yeah, Francis. Castillejo, yeah, really good impact off the bench. I still want to see him be a little bit more decisive. You know, he has some excellent efforts for long distance, but just want to see him kind of really ram home the point that he is capable of playing at an elite level and he can deliver decisively on a regular basis, but certainly a positive performance from him. Lackluster performance overall, agreed, and Suso was ineffective, really bad miss. On and off, I think, again, I'll always give Suso credit for the fact that he's willing to get on the ball and make things happen. I think that is a really, really positive asset for any player to have. But yeah, ineffective in the sense that inconsistency creeped back into his game tonight and wasn't able to kind of add that killer touch, if you like, whether it was an assist or a goal. Zapata, calamitous. I think he was okay for the most part, but yeah, there were moments again where you just think, here he is, he's back, he's going to make another big error at some point. But yeah, Romagnoli at full total command, agree with that. Ngozi Cooper at the real wide Jeff. If Suso has a bad game, then Milan have a bad game. We need Hakan to find form more than ever. Bonaventura needs to return. Romagnoli equals backbone. Injuries are an issue. The team needs to get accustomed to the new formation. Bakayoko is actually improving. Repeat, the injuries. Laxalt and Cotrone worked hard but had little to show for it. Castillejo had a decent performance. Suso had a bad game. Yeah, agreed on the Suso point, and 100% Calhanoglu coming in. Not only coming in, but he needs to kind of get back to that performance level that he showed in the second half of last season. Him on the left, Suso on the right, both of them in form at the same time, and we are a completely different proposition for any team. We couldn't really find that balance last season, so fingers crossed we can do that when Hakan comes back. Bonaventura, again, you know, he's easy to criticise. He kind of doesn't do enough for me, particularly so far this season. But when he's missing, you can kind of tell the importance that he has in this team still. That creativity and kind of attacking threat through the middle is badly missed. So let's hope he can come back ASAP. Another shout out for Bakayoko, well deserved. Yeah, again, Laxalt and Cotrone worked their socks off throughout the whole game, but to kind of echo the whole point that I'm making about the performance as a whole, there wasn't enough quality to go with that endeavour and that effort, which is why we struggled to break down Udinese and find that win. So definitely need to see more from them. Cuba at Rossonero Grande. Capitano is his word to describe Romagnoli. Very unlucky with the injuries. Let's hope all the players get well soon. When will we finish our chances? They easily gifted us 2 goals that match, not even counting that counter-attack. Samu worked hard and played well. Yeah, injuries are very unfortunate. Let's hope that none are long-term, apart from the ones we know, obviously, about Caldara and Biglia. Yeah, the wastefulness in front of goal is really going to cost us. We do need to find that clinical edge, whether it's Higuain, Cotrone, or the other players. We just need to start taking our chances, and these games can become very, very straightforward if we want them to be. I did predict it before the game. You know, it was pretty predictable that we were going to struggle in this one, especially with the players that were missing, and it kind of stayed true to form. But fingers crossed we can kind of finish our chances moving forward. Rishab Dabari. Sorry, can't do one word on this, so here goes. I didn't know I could love anyone until I saw Romagnoli. Naming all my children after him. They can be Alessio the first, Alessio the third. Gender doesn't matter. Girls can be called Alessio too. Injuries are concerning, especially Higuain. Looks like a bruise. Might be back for Juve, but no idea yet. Also, Conti played 60 minutes for Primavera in midweek, so he's close. Good game today. Looked better, and in moments you could see what the hype is about. Cotrone looked a little starved today, some touches were off. Castillejo takes too many touches sometimes but looked okay. Suso getting cocky and shooting too much, need Hakan to start. Laxalt offers too little going forward. Kessie starting to find his feet in a 2-man midfield. Man of the match for Rishab was Alessio Romagnoli with an expletive in the middle, but I have a rule, no swear words on the podcast, but I completely agree with you. I mean, man is a legend at this point. Flop of the match was Cotrone, looked lost at times, touch let him down a couple of times, did well for the goal, but that was the only run he connected on. Expect better from him. All in all, I'm happy with 4th, Forza Milan. Yeah, Rishab, a lot to get through there, but 100% on board with you on the Romagnoli, naming your children Alessio. Fantastic shout that. Injuries are hurting us. Conte hopefully coming back, yep. And Bakayoko, another shout out, definitely improving and showing more positive signs. So let's hope that can continue. Cutrone deservedly criticised. I think he was great off the ball, as you expect, bringing that passion, that energy up top. But overall, didn't get into the game enough, didn't do enough up top, and that kind of, whether it was a service problem, whether it was him not doing enough with the ball at his feet, it was kind of part of the problem as to why we struggled for the whole game to get a goal. So we'll see what happens with that one in the next one. Suso shooting too much. 100% agree with that point as well. I think he scored some crackers. Let's be fair. Yeah, he has proven that he can score from distance, but especially against teams that we should be carving open with the creative players that we've got, you kind of want to see a bit more inventiveness and not just being restricted to 25, 30-yard shots all the time. So definitely need to kind of mix that up a little bit. But all in all, good stuff. Lucas on Twitter, Romagnoli equals warrior. Great shout on that one. For me, right back position is biggest problem at the moment. Don't think performance was this bad. Still too wasteful, sometimes promising attacks. Castillejo and Bakayoko great today. Happy for the first clean sheet and Gigio awake on the shots he faced. Yeah, right back is a massive issue. Abate is just a walking liability. I don't think he offers anything going forward, and I think he actually should be docked wages every time he puts a cross into the box. That should be an instant fine because he never ever seems to find one of his teammates. And defensively, I just feel like he's all over the place. He can get caught out at any second. Against world-class players, he's going to be an absolute mess. We could see that next week against Juve, potentially, hopefully not. But whether it's Calabria coming back into it, whether it's Conzi, like Rishab said, 60 minutes under his belt in midweek for the Primavera. Let's hope he can come back and take that position for himself. More shout-outs for Castillejo and Bakayoko, agrees. And definitely a nice shout-out for Gigio as well, because he didn't have a great deal to do, but when he needed to do something, he was alert and made his presence count. Milanista at KA Daniancho. I'm speechless. The boys played very well, got the deserved victory, but injuries are my main worries. Joseph at Joe Basilieri. Take the wins, especially with all the injuries. Bakayoko growing. Castillejo needs to be in the lineup opposite Suso or up top somewhere. Yeah, got to look at it in the bigger context and say with the injuries in mind, the win's important, and we're just powering through and getting the results, which is all that you can ask for, really. More praise for Bakayoko, yes. More praise for Castillejo. Yeah, I'd give Castillejo a starting spot, depending again what formation we go with next week and who returns from injury, but he certainly deserves it. Guy Cohen, one word on Romagnoli, Capitano. Fair play. Way too many injuries, has to be checked what's going on in the fitness and health department. Got to say, Bakayoko was brilliant today. Zapata, shocking display. We lack depth, but have shown fantastic mentality. Forward a lot to Paqueta and hopefully Ibra as well. With a good January signings and players coming off injuries, I think we have a good chance to finish top four. Not a great display, but considering injuries and that Rob Penn, I think overall not a bad night. It was Forza Milan. Guy, injuries, fair point. Definitely having an impact, of course, when you take out the players that are out of this team. It's only natural we're going to struggle. Bakayoko, brilliant. Yep, definitely positive signs from him, as I mentioned. Zapata, shocking. Yeah, definitely had his moments yet again. But yeah, I've criticised the lack of depth and the quality, but for the players to continue to push for the winner into the 96th minute and get it, not only is that going to be excellent for their confidence and their belief, but mentality-wise, building that winning mentality and fighting until the last minute, that is certainly something that we need to drill into these players. Hopefully that's being done. And yeah, your shouts on the January signings and players coming off injuries. Let's hope that they all mesh together and we can continue to push on and snatch one of that top four position. But we're on course. Let's hope that it continues. Fernando at Fernie_13, nervous about Juve next week. Yeah, agreed. I think that's the consensus, really, isn't it? In terms of our kind of wastefulness in front of goal, coupled with the quality that they have with Ronaldo, Dybala, and all the rest of those lot. It's going to be a test, no doubts about that. But I think you've just got to look at it as a one-off game, and we've just got to go all out, not all out in attack in that sense. Just we need to play with that grit, determination, that urgency, the kind of pressing and harrying that we saw in the opening stages of this game tonight. We've just got to take the game to Juve, in my opinion. We cannot afford to sit back and let them play, fall into the same trap that we did against Inter and Betis. We just need to kind of get on the front foot as much as possible, and hopefully we can come away with a positive result, but we'll have to wait and see. And then at Coutro Mask, we should build a statue for Romagnoli. I think we're not far off that stage. We are in big trouble now, though. We could have won this game easily if we just had all our players fit. We played well. Bakayoko was excellent. Barini did very well when he came on. I don't think we had a dire display. Agreed with the injury problems. Yes, I think we could have won it much more comfortably with the players all fit, but obviously we made it difficult for ourselves, and missing those kind of players was always going to be tough. But Bakayoko was excellent. Agree with that point. I kind of disagree with the Barini shout. I think every time he kind of gets into a decent position, he works himself into space quite well. I'll give him that. But then when it comes to making that final pass, that kind of decision in the final third, whether it's to have the confidence to take a shot on, whether it's to pick out a pass, he just seems to be lost. I don't think he really knows what he's doing when he gets into those positions. So I'm kind of going to have to disagree with that one. But if he can play well, it'd be more than welcome. But yeah, you disagree with the dire performance. Again, I think I may have kind of worded it incorrectly on Twitter. I think it wasn't a terrible display in the sense that we looked in control, but I just feel as though the wastefulness in front of goal was a really, really kind of poor aspect of the performance, which is why I was critical. So we'll have to wait and see if that can improve. Right, guys, appreciate all the comments that came in tonight. Thank you very much. Continue to follow me on Twitter and Facebook at MilanTalk1. More reaction and more stuff throughout the week ahead of the Juve game to come. As I mentioned at the top of the podcast, some negatives to take away from the performance. I feel as though we should have killed it off really, really easily in the first half and with the chances in the second half. I think if you look at any of the other top sides against Udinese this season, they will all, for the most part, make it look a lot easier than we did. And that kind of says a lot about the gulf in class still, the leap in quality that we still need to make. But injuries in mind, it was always going to be more difficult. So to get the 3 points, to get the clean sheet, go back up to fourth, got to be happy with it. Romagnoli stepping up and being an absolute hero yet again for us. So many positives, so many things to be happy about. So let's roll on. Let's hope we can get another big result and a big performance against Juve next. I'll be back on Thursday night after the Betis game. Hopefully we can continue the winning run against them in the Europa League and bounce back from that defeat. And then, of course, all eyes on Sunday. Juve at home. Let's continue to push on and kind of nail down the top 4 position. Again, thanks all for listening. Until next time, Forza Milan.